Right, today in the spotlight we have the Fireflys. We're going to have a chat with them about where they're up to now. We're going to have a listen to one of their tracks from the album. Right, so just tell us a little bit about how you got started in music and then how you then eventually joined in.
Yeah, I played in bands from the age of 15, 16, that kind of thing, just like, you know, kicked around the local circuit. And I just kind of thought that there was, you know, something kind of in it, something that I kind of felt, you know, just to be, you know, performing songs and, you know, writing songs, that kind of thing. So I just thought about, you know, putting a band together. We just thought that, you know, we never really kind of set out to, you know, to make it, or we never kind of really set out to, you know, change the world or anything like that. But, you know, the last maybe 9, 12 months of the band, since, you know, going full time with it and obviously selling more albums, that kind of thing, it's just become more than something I ever, you know, thought it would. So it's just kind of gone from just like messing around on an acoustic guitar to like doing, like, you know, full tours and that kind of thing. And, you know, you joined the band, you know, like 2 years ago, so wasn't it? And
yeah, well, I have a similar story for you, really.
Yeah.
Like when I discovered that drums was my instrument, I just kind of floated in and out of bands and always was looking for new, like, kind of musicians to play around with and see what kind of music I could come up with.
Yeah.
And then you emailed me one day saying you were looking for a drummer, and then sent up for my audition and just told me after one song that was it, really.
Yeah.
So as a rare female drummer, who are your inspirations or influences for playing the drums?
Probably one of my bigger influences is probably Dave Grohl, which is quite a typical one, most people say that anyway. And also Chad Smith from the Chili Peppers.
Right.
I just like their styles, really. They play for the songs, you know, that's what you need to do.
So what experiences have you had so far, especially in the early stages? It was maybe some of your toughest challenges, best and worst gigs you've had?
I think around 2008, 2009, we did a gig at the Birmingham EC, which was really good. We kind of met Stereophonics and, you know, Stuart Cable, all that kind of thing, and that was kind of like a high point. But really, when you've got musicians that aren't pulling together, or kind of don't see, I mean, I didn't really see it as like, you know, let's really go for this. You know, I kind of thought it like, well, you know, I presume we've got something here and we can take it as far as we can. You know, maybe we can play to more audiences, maybe get some, you know, an album made, you know. And the kind of other members of the band kind of weren't really as enthusiastic as I was. So it was kind of like a, you know, 08, 09 was kind of like a really kind of, you know, bleak time for the band, really. Right. I did think a couple of times that, you know, we weren't going to carry on, and we had like a few, you know, people leave the band as well, and we were just like, you know, this is not really happening. It was a very low time, to be fair. Then obviously we got Andrea, and it kind of reformed the band, you know, gave us like a second wind, I suppose. Then we'd just done our first album, Better to Burn Out, and when Andrea joined the band, it ended up going number 27 on the Amazon chart. Right. So that was when we kind of had a bit of steam, you know, underneath us, and we just kind of went for it. And then, you know, more people were like, well, you know, the promoters couldn't really say no then, you know, if you've kind of like got a little bit of pedigree. And then we ended up getting signed to Native Records, which is, I think they signed 9 Inch Nails and Pulp and all that kind of thing. So we ended up being with them for about 6 months. They kind of showed us, you know, how to run an independent label. So we left there, and then we did our second album, Cathedral for Ashes. And then I think that was like number 1 on Amazon, and then it just really started to, you know, build from there. It was just absolutely fantastic, and that all the bad times just kind of faded into nothing.
And then you've had lots of interest from some of the establishment, things like BBC introducing. What was that like for you guys then?
It was amazing, really.
Yeah.
It was just, well, from supporting Noel Gallagher's after show party and the Ocean Colour scene and the Chapman family, it's just really nice to kind of be able to get our name to like a little bit of a wider audience by supporting those kind of people, and it also looks good to other promoters that we can kind of do that kind of thing. Yeah. And then when BBC introduced and played us on Saturday, was it?
Sunday, yeah, Sunday, just gone, yeah.
It just kind of blew our mind. It was like, well, it's really difficult to get into that kind of thing, and we kind of broke through. Where
do you get your influences from? Where do you get your inspiration, your ideas for the album?
This album in particular is a more kind of acoustic affair. So I've kind of recently really got into City and Colour. I'm kind of like really into Dallas Green. I mean, not the Alexis on Fire side of things, but City and Colour certainly. And then that kind of like, even though that's quite current, that kind of led me down the rabbit hole to the likes of Bob Dylan and Neil Young. Something I hadn't really been exposed to. I think it's just because, like, obviously the time I was born, you kind of go through these weird transitional phases, and you only kind of get. I only got into the Beatles when I was like 23.
Right. So you got some of your ideas, some of your politics, some of your own personal beliefs in here as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the lyrics tend to be often about, you know, unrequited love or that kind of rejection that you feel in life, not so much
Right.
in a relationship, but maybe, you know, in a job or friends, you know, getting let down. So there's kind of like an undercurrent of, you know, failure and, you know, despair running through every song, but
Right.
we kind of marry them to kind of upbeating chord changes, you know,
Yeah.
the kind of melody, so you don't kind of listen to it and think, God, this is depressing.
So where do you go from here now then? You're on the rise, so where do you go from here?
Album comes out 5th of August, and that's going to be our last single. Julian just came out. We've got Hummingbird, another single coming out soon, and then I think we've got maybe 3 months from maybe August to November or October touring. Then I think we're going to be off December, January, you know, maybe doing some more B-sides or whatever, or
Right,
some videos. And then we're going to be out on the road again February till June next year. So it's going to be the best part of the next 12 months is going to take up this album. Like,
Brilliant. So you guys been going really strong, confirmed as the Fireflys for the last 5 years, particularly from yourself and then from you. What would you say is your inspirational message to the others out there as well?
Just if you're in a band, just carry on going. I mean, if you've got good songs, you've good musicianship, and you love what you're doing, you're gonna make it. Really, you're gonna do well. You're gonna progress. Just don't. We know it can be hard sometimes, like when you feel a bit down or something's not going your way. Just stick at it. You know, do whatever you put your mind to. Really.
Yeah.
What would you add to that?
Basically, it's just luck and hard work, I think.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of like if you can get your music out to as many ears as you can, maybe produce a really good demo, you know, really well produced demo, you know, spend not a lot of money, but you can certainly with studios or laptops these days, you can get stuff that sounds really good for pretty much next to nothing. So if you could get yourself a really competent, maybe 5-track EP, and then maybe start, you know, put it on SoundCloud, start sending it out to people, you know, I mean, that's certainly what we've done, and, you know, it's certainly worked.
So as you talk about your talent, we're just going to have a sample of that now as well. So you're just going to play a track for us. This one from the album, what will you be playing for us today?
Julian, the last single from this album. Yeah.
Brilliant. And that charted?
Yeah, it got to number 16 on the iTunes chart and number 1 on Amazon, which
Brilliant.
was quite pleasant. So.
Excellent. So we're going to have a listen to that now.
Cool.
Grab a guitar.
Say, but I just can't relate to the broken heart in this town. Up comes the sun and it creeps and hides, hiding your warmth from your soul inside. And I never thought I'd feel so down, and it's all because of you. You broke my heart and I'm more in love. You broke my back, turned the push to a shove, and I will never get used to the way you walk all over. You left me out in the pouring rain, and I never thought that I could love again, but you come around.